time ran out. St. Rita has matched Mount Carmel win for win. The rain, nor mud, nor Evanston's defense could stop tailback Paul Gordon and the rest of the Mustangs from advancing to this matchup. Today it's Mount Carmel and St. Rita, but only one team can go on to the state championship. We'll find out who it will be as Catholic League powers collide on the Prep Game of the Week.
Prep Game of the Week is brought to you by
the Mustangs of the Catholic League North. Hello again, everybody. I'm Brian Hanrahan, and welcome to Pat Cronin Field and the great matchup between these two teams that have been going at it for many, many years. The Mount Carmel Caravan, they are 12-0, as well as St. Rita, both of them undefeated. Their head coach, Frank Lenti. They got here on that miracle win over Helmut Flossmoor. St. Rita Mustangs, well, they've just been playing steady, 12-0 as well. Their head coach, Todd Wernitt. They are a good football team, a solid football team, and they are at home today. It's very important at this time. And joining me once again on the sidelines will be Levito Squalls. We'll talk about the stage in just a second. And then, of course, up in the booth with me will be Jack McInerney. And let's turn to Jack first. And you got to, I guess, in the long run, you look and you say, gosh, these two teams are 12-0. They both play real well. But you're at St. Rita.
Well, you're at St. Rita Stadium for the Holy Wars. It has come down to a holy war. Both teams have had two miracles, if you'll excuse the sacrilegious comment. St. Rita had their first miracle in the first game against East United Moline when they won the game, and then last week Mount Carmel when they beat Homewood Flossmoor. So they've used up the miracles, and it's come down to the quarterbacks, I think, for today between Olinger and Miller. It should be a fantastic game and one of the classics.
Well, let's turn to the other side, and Mr. Undercover, they love you here. Why do you wear the shades?
Brian, I tell you, I don't know. It's some type of phenomenon. You know, we talk about today, it's gray overcast skies, and why I got on those shades, it's showtime, folks. It's a big game in the season. But as far as we're concerned, I know the finals are coming up in a couple of weeks, but this is a big game for both squads. As Clint mentioned earlier, both squads are in a situation now where they've had their miracles last week. Miller to Norval, Lynchy, we had him on the show about 2 weeks ago. I picked against him. I'm not going to pick it all this week. All I know is it's two great squads. Even my heart is starting to beat because it's such a great game. I feel honored just to be down here on the sidelines and get a bird's eye view of what's going on.
What do you think about your favorite backfield of Sierra and Gordon?
I think that they'll do well on this field. That they have, I don't know if they've got the gods in their camp, but every game that we've done 3 out of the 4, they've had this type of muddy field, and that tends to go towards their type of style of running.
That's a very good point. 3 weeks in a row, these two teams have played in this kind of weather. Kind of cold, kind of rainy. The fields are wet, but again, they're in good shape. One quick, Jack, you made a point to me about how these two teams, it is the state playoffs, but if this thing were held 15 years ago, this place would be rocking even more.
Well, it probably wouldn't be here. It would be, that controversy of Soldiers Field. If this was for the Catholic Championship, which it really is, but if it was for the days of the Prep Bowl to take on the public school winner, we'd be playing this game at Soldiers Field probably with 75,000 fans.
Well, they've crammed as many as they can cram in here, and there are probably more on their way. We're going to come back to the kickoff for this great football game right after this. Welcome back to St. Rita High School, Pat Cronin Stadium. It is a beautiful day for football because it doesn't matter what kind of day it is. These two teams are ready to go as they come out of the field, the Mount Carmel Caravan and their head coaches running out of the field, their staff. And there you see the Mustangs of St. Rita. They run down and touch the plaque at the end of the field. They are ready. Both these teams coming in here 12-0. The perfect matchup for a semifinal going head-to-head, and we will see. The winner will move on to meet the winner of East St. Louis and Naperville North. That game being played down in East St. Louis today. Well, Jack, there's not much more you can say. Really, this game is set up so perfectly because these two teams came in perfect.
You cannot write a better scenario
than what you're seeing right here. If you hired a Hollywood movie script writer, it couldn't come out any better than this. Both of them 12-0. St. Rita Stadium. Mount Carmel last year got this far. They got to the semifinals and lost, so they're back here again. And of course, St. Rita, having had a questionable first game when it didn't look like they were going to do too well, and they came back and won with no time on the clock, and then they won 11 straight. They're both sitting here at 12-0. 24 games these teams have played and have not lost. What a classic matchup.
Head coach of the Mount Carmel Caravan, Frank Lenti, the head coach of the St. Rita Mustangs, Todd Burnett. Both of them were on Prep Talk at separate weeks, and we had a chance to talk with both of them. And both of them, of course, were playing up the fact that their programs were families.
Well, you know, that's really what the case is when you get to these Catholic League schools. A lot of these people have played football together since they were in the 4th grade at various parochial grammar schools, so it really is a family. It's a tight-knit group, and if you look at the size of the stadium, you can almost just get your family into it.
This stadium, you are right on top of the players in this kind of game. Pat Cronin Field is very little. There you see head coach Todd Burnett. Very successful. Both of these coaches played at their respective schools. Todd Burnett here at St. Rita, Frank Lenti at Mount Carmel.
Well, that gives you the tradition factor. They can dwell on that. They talk about when they were there, how it was, and so they're trying to keep those traditions going, and they certainly have done that.
Well, we were starting to talk about the field, Jack. Field goal posts and the end zone are about 4 to 5 inches from a cement wall at one end, and you've got a fence at the other end, so you can't go too far to get off this field.
And you hear the announcers in the pro game talking about a guy that flinches going over the middle. Well, you do flinch when you run a post route here and you go too deep with it, or the quarterback throws it too deep. You end up in a wall or in a fence.
And he's not going to like you at all. Brian Courtney tees it up for St. Rita. They will be kicking off to the Caravan. The Caravan send Matt Gersich, their fullback, deep. They also have Jim Richards and number 27, Ed Stewart. All of them are running backs for him. Courtney kicks him low, and he does. And it is Norville with the ball, the tight end. Norville right up the middle, and he gets across. Well, it's not going to be easy picking out those yard lines either. They will start it on the 37-yard line. The first possession of the ball game. And we will set the offenses and defenses for you.
It's going to be real slick down there. That's the best part of the field on either side of the hash mark. And already you can see how it's chopped up.
There you see Norville, Ackland, McGuire, Newman, McCardle, and Roush. And in the backfield of Miller, Gersh, Allen, Boston, and Griffin. Miller pitches it to Nairobi Allen. He gets around the outside. Gets a good gainer, about 5 yards on the play, and fires up the Caravan crowd. Jack, I was here 3 hours before this game started, and this place was almost filled. It was amazing.
Well, you know, the build-up to it has been very significant. And, of course, they're two great teams, and this is a South-Side rivalry. So the people are all in the neighborhood, and they're going to be coming to watch the game.
There's the St. Rita defense. Hamilton, Klintz, Novicus, Guzik, McGuire, Charnotte, Kingsbury, the backs of McLaury, Smith, Pena, and Curtin. Both teams, excellent defenses. Miller keeps the ball. Gets about one on the play.
Dan Miller was a little tentative on that read coming down. On the previous play, they ran just a lead option coming down the short side of the field. And on that particular play, Miller read the dive back, and then it was a little tentative after the read, and I think a lot of that had to do with St. Rita and the linebackers.
It's a good shot there, the overhead. There's Brian Hamilton, who was one of our prep athletes of the week.
He's an outstanding football player, and he's only a junior.
And again, we've said it before, he reminds us a little bit of Richard Dent, but he's on the inside today, playing in the Dan Hampton spot. So watch him today. He plays well against the run and the pass. Allen gets the ball, and right on the play, right on top of him, for no gain is the St. Rita defense. Ray Novicus right on top of him.
Novicus and Hamilton, you can see this is a great camera shot right here, and they're double teaming Hamilton, and they lead up on the linebacker on the draw, but Hamilton cuts off the middle, and Novicus gets inside. Nice job by St. Rita's defense. Hamilton is tough. They've got to double team him if they want to control it between the tackles. And they double team him, and then you have trouble with Novickus.
Low punt, and it'll roll. Picked up by Smith, and he gets brought down after about a 2-yard gain. On the return, a good coverage by the Caravan.
And he had a pretty nice wall set up there if he could have got to it. He was a little slick trying to keep his footing, but they had a nice wall set up on that far hash mark on the Mount Carmel sideline. There's a shot of the St. Rita sideline. Very small, condensed sideline. From the sideline to the wall is probably about 6 feet.
There you see the St. Rita offense of Sadowski, Franzese, Collins, Fitzpatrick, Koval, Klintz, and Mullins. And then Olinger, Sierra, Gordon, and Findez. They're awfully good. Both of these teams. Solid offenses, solid defenses. Olinger looking for the corner. He's got Sadowski wide open. He's crossed the 50-yard line. He had great protection. He gave him the time to let Sadowski get open, and he did.
Well, that's Olinger's favorite receiver, Sadowski. All he runs is he runs a post and an out, and the defender slips, and the ball's delivered right on the money. You can see he is wide open coming in the St. Rita sideline. Jeff Sadowski, 5'11", 165-pound junior. Good throw by Olinger.
Deep pitch to Paul Gordon. Paul gets some momentum, and it got him a good gain. Again, if you can let Paul Gordon get some speed, Jack, he can really fly.
Well, you know, last week when we saw St. Rita play Evanston, he was a real mutter, and he's an excellent running back. And, of course, he's 6 yards deep, so he has a little more of an opportunity to get some traction going. And he picked up 4 yards on that carry. And, of course, if you can average 4 yards, you're doing pretty well.
There you see Mount Carmel, O'Hara, Banks, Zoretic, Gabrioni, Yeager, Estrada, and Cushingberry.
Now, this is the
Schumacher,
formation.
Pippin, Hanson, and Mowat. Go ahead, Jack.
This is the formation that Rita likes to run that inside trap out of.
They go back with the pass.
Shows you what I know.
Sadowski wide open. They had a lot of cushion on him, and he gets a nice gainer out of the first down. The Mount Carmel defense was way off him. It was a well-called play.
Well, I don't know that if St. Rita does run audibles on that, but with the defenders, as you can see, way off, he just went to the short out, and Sadowski's all by himself. The defender was about 6 to 7 yards off the field. Now, of course, with formations like that, after that last play, it's slick, and they have more of a tendency to get back because they do not want to get burned deep.
1st and 10. Sean Sierra right up the middle. Sean's got some room. He's still on his feet. Sierra down to the 1. Touchdown, St. Rita. Sean Sierra.
Well, that's been that big play that St. Rita has run so very successfully the times that we've seen him in the playoffs. They spread out the defense. They run that inside trap with Sean Sierra, who's an outstanding runner. And, of course, he was the most valuable player in the Chicago Catholic League this past season. 5'10", 190-pound senior. Great blocking done up front. Let's take a look at it right here. You can see the trap by Jim Koval, number 61, and Sean Sierra doing some nice job of running right here. Busts loose and takes it all the way down. As you can see the pursuit coming, but it's a little too late. They try to rip through the ball, but he's in for 6.
Mark Cannon didn't attempt the extra point. It is up, it is good, and it hits the school. 7-0 St. Rita.
It's up and hits the school.
That's how close it is. He hit the garage on the other side.
There's a shot of Jim Angston, the linebacker coach for St. Rita. Again, interesting call here because St. Rita, as you can see now, we're looking at the touchdown. There's the trap right there. Great job of trapping by that guard, and that was number 65, Kevin Collins.
Jack, remember we've talked about it all year. We've seen this team. This is the 4th time we've seen this team, and Sean Sierra has incredible balance.
He has terrific balance, but he also has a terrific offensive line in front of him.
That sure
helps. Both those guards are excellent trapping guards, and when you can do that in high school, that's a big factor, and they both do it so very well, going to either side with Sierra running that play. And, of course, they also run that counter trap with Gordon when they trap with the guard and lead up with the tackle. I'm sure we'll see that a little later in the ball game.
Big lineman Brian Courtney kicks it off for St. Rita, and another squibber hits off of Norville and picked up. Still on his feet. Nice job of running. Finally brought down by a gang. Matt Gersh. The Caravan will come out of the field.
Mount Carmel has had a tremendous season, and of course last year they had a great year also, which is a tribute to the Mount Carmel football staff and that fine traditional program that they have. And of course St. Rita was down a little bit last year. And in fact, we saw them in the last ball game lose to St. Lawrence, and had they won that game, they would have gotten the state playoffs. So they've come off of for St. Rita, a kind of a poor year, but boy, they've had a great one this year.
They'll start it on the 28-yard line. Dan Miller. Deep pitch to Gersh. Gets around the left side. Nice run by Gersh.
An interesting call as we look at that. They're running the veer according to formation. They ran that into the weak side of the field because they showed a wide slot to the wide side of the field. So rotation by St. Rita's defense brought their monster to the wide side, and they ran that option into the short side. And that was a first down.
Mount Carmel's second possession here in the first half. First quarter, 7 minutes left in the first quarter. And a 10-yard gain on that, or a first down for Gersh and the Caravan.
Again, same formation here, Brian.
Little slip there by the big fullback. He comes pounding through. He gets beat up, but he gets his way through. Let's go down to Vito Squalls and see what's up here in the early goings. Vito?
Brian, let's get this started off in the correct way. Let's document our first play. It's easy what they did. It's called spreading out the defense. Olinger, again, come on in here. Come on in here, Mike. Olinger throws a couple of passes out to the outside. He spreads the defense out. It's a little bit easier on the inside. And then all of a sudden, Sierra, trap play right off tackle. Touchdown Rita, that easy. I'm good at this now, aren't I?
Boy, you're getting great.
Too bad it's all not that easy.
It's so much easier to diagram after they score. And the officials are calling a timeout here, equipment timeout for St. Rita. Again, it sounds like I'm going through my second puberty, but I have that cold I haven't gotten rid of.
I understand. You can use some of my lozenges. You know, when we look at the field here, it's getting slicker and slicker as we go along here, and I think this is going to play to the advantage of St. Rita because Mount Carmel has an outstanding defense and obviously an excellent offense, but they're not St. Rita. And to utilize their quickness, it would have been to their advantage, obviously, to have a drier field. So at this early stage of the game, I think St. Rita does have the advantage because of the size.
Second down and 2. Mount Carmel close to the 50-yard line. Dan Miller going to pass the ball. He's got a wide open man right across the middle. He went to Mike Griffin, his wide receiver, and he just found the wide open spot.
We'll see right here. He's coming from the slot position, and he's right in that seam between the safety and the monster. A nice call and an excellent throw by Miller. And, of course, Miller's the one that led that miracle drive last week against Homewood Flossmoor and got Mount Carmel into this ball game.
93 yards. He drove them. So another first down to Mount Carmel, putting together a drive here in their second possession. Nairobi Allen bounces off a couple of yards. I tell you, they are hitting hard down there.
A little counter option by Mount Carmel, and Nairobi Allen has really been the bread and butter for him this year, and he's only 5'8", 155 pounds, but he's a tough 155-pounder. He started last year a wide receiver for Mount Carmel, and they made the personnel change this year and moved him to running back, and he's done a great job for him.
They split both Griffin and Carl Boston out to the top of your screen. Second down and 7. Dan Miller keeps it himself, tries to go straight up. And again, the guys before and after the plays are falling. You notice when they first start, Jack, when they first make their first break, that first step is definitely a slippery one.
Well, again, the advantage of the offense is to run straight ahead, and Mike Carmel, I'm sure, will probably run a little more straight ahead with their option off the dive veer element of it. And, of course, St. Rita is a strong running team anyway, so it really is in their favor because they run more straight ahead than any option. But we'll see probably Mount Carmel giving more the dive back than going outside.
Now both the receivers down to the bottom. 3rd down and 4. Miller has trouble holding on to it, coming away.
He's open.
Got a man right across the middle, tipped up in the air, and almost picked off. McClowry right on him.
The motion man came back and slipped across on a drag route and was absolutely wide open going across the field. And Miller was not able to spot him, but he came in motion and ran a drag. Basically the same way he did the last time. You'll see him near the official, behind the official, right there, wide open. And Miller goes to a different receiver, and I'm sure that St. Rita coaches will be getting onto that route in a few plays.
Give Dave Charnot the credit for tipping that ball.
That was a big play for St. Rita. Fake.
Fake. Looking to throw it. He's got a man downfield, but he's not going to be able to get it to him.
Excellent call by Frank Lenti. Didn't get the first down, but he's in a position here where, because of the conditions in the field, that was a great call. He didn't have anything to lose by making that call.
As you've said all year long, Jack, it's 4-down territory.
Right here, we'll see the short snap to the up back.
Jim DeLisa is their junior quarterback.
And the end is just running a first down right here. And you'll see just prior to this, he gets bumped a little bit. And it was a good call by Frank Lenti. Excellent call. Even though it did not pick up the first down, St. Rita's still in their own territory.
Bollinger and the Mustang offense now come out. Sierra and Gordon in the backfield. Paul Gordon bumps it to the outside. Oh, is he hit hard. Brought down on a good tackle by Marty Schumacher.
That was a heck of a hit by Schumacher, 5'9", 150-pound junior. You'll see Gordon, it's designed to go off tackle. Sierra kicks out the end, but Gordon bounces outside. And you'll see Schumacher, there's the initial hit, and there's Schumacher coming in to clean up right at the tail end of that play. And St. Rita picks up about 3 yards here.
Last time we ran a sweep, he had him hooked.
St. Rita.
Again now, Rita's spreading the formation here with a twin to one side and a split to the other, Brian.
That corner is fucking like 15 yards off the ball.
That's a good point. It's wide open in the middle. Paul Gordon now tries to go up the middle. Actually, just off the left side, didn't get anything. And again, he got to the line of scrimmage and his feet start to spin.
They're right in the part, obviously, that's the worst part of the field down there between the hash marks, and the field is getting progressively worse the longer. If they stay in there for 1 or 2 plays, it gets chopped up, and then that part of the field is wrecked for the remainder of the game.
So you look at it and you say how important that first score was.
Well, you know, it's tough for the linemen to get traction, too. I mean, they got to come off the ball, both offensively and defensively, and it's difficult to get any kind of traction for anybody down there.
7-0 St. Rita Reeds, Mount Carmel here in the state semifinal.
He's open, got a screen.
But he's got Sierra, and Sierra is met for a loss, a big loss on the play. On the play, Tom Zoretic. He was just there with him. He had Sadowski way downfield, but he couldn't reach him. And he went for the...
Well, we're looking at a spread formation, one back here, and they run a drag route, and he's looking all the way to the... as you can see, some of the people fell down. The blockers for him slipped and fell on the screen, and were unable to make the play there. Bill Kleins, that big tackle, slipped just prior to making the block, so it was so much more of the lineman slipping than a bad play by the quarterback.
Now they're bringing everybody in to block on the play, expecting Mount Carmel to try and block it.
That's a great snap.
McClowry gets a good foot on it. And tried to get outside, and down he slips his way, slips and slides his girth. Finally gets outside, but again, a decent return. But again, they're playing right in the middle of the field.
Right in the middle of the field, but you have to give credit to the center for St. Rita. That was an excellent snap in a very bad part of the field under very adverse conditions. He put it right on the money with a lot of velocity.
First down for the Caravan. As they come out, third possession, 1:43 left in the first quarter. 7-0 St. Rita. Semifinals. The winner goes to the 6A finals. And they're going to blow whistles. I think Mount Carmel jumped a little. Again, Jack, how important is it to keep that ball?
Dead ball foul before the snap.
false start offense.
There you hear our referee, so it was a dead ball foul. How important it is to keep those have the ball boys do their job to keep those balls clean and dry.
Well, let's look at the play, Brian, before we get into that, and we'll just see that that there was just a motion call there. It was going to obviously be a pass, but it's so very important because with that leather, it gets so slick, and it depends on the size of the hands of the quarterback. It makes it very difficult.
Miller, two-handed pitch to Nairobi Allen, and Allen maybe gets two on the play. What a hard hit, though, by Dave Charnot.
Well, what's interesting about that call is it was a play-action pass look to this side of the field, which already brings the defenders in this direction, and then they option that way anyway. So what happened was it did not disrupt the flow of the pursuit of the defenders. They were coming in this direction anyway. So we're looking now at second and about long 12 or 13 for Mount Carmel.
Quiet Mount Carmel side of the field there. 10 years ago, the St. Rita Mustangs won the state championship. Miller keeps the ball. Gets upfield. Miller still on his feet. Finally brought down, though, and he's got a ways to go for the first. A late flag.
A late hit. That'll be a first down for Mount Carmel, I believe, if it is, in fact, a late hit on St. Rita. It is. Yep. First down, Mount Carmel. Now, see, that really hurts because St. Rita was doing a nice job of holding them and possibly forcing the punt. It would have been a third down play. And now all of a sudden they got a first down in St. Rita territory.
That's a 15-yarder. They would have had probably a third down in about 8. Instead, they give them nice field position. They move them into the 35, just across the 35. And again,
it's really aggressiveness here by St. Rita. You can see people going to the ball, and it's got to be right there, right at the last there. And I believe that might be Brian Hamilton with a little extracurricular, and he got the flag for that.
Boston, or I'm sorry, Griffin in motion.
Option again.
Miller, this time, pitches is deep. A lot of guys after Nairobi Allen. He's still on his feet, though.
He's a nice little back.
Boy, he had 4 guys after him.
You know, it's interesting, a physical matchup like Gordon is 5'7", 160, outstanding running back for St. Rita, and of course Nairobi Allen's 5'8", 155 pounds, but they run so darn hard, and watch him getting the pitch right here. He really has nowhere to go at the tail end here. He just lowers the shoulders right there, and that's a gutsy little run by Nairobi Allen, and again, it's a first down for Mount Carmel.
Also a nice job by Dan Miller. He really kept a couple of those Mustang defenders. He held them for a little bit longer, which allowed him to get to the outside. Griffin in motion again. Boston out the top of your screen. Allen up the middle, nowhere.
And that's Hamilton again.
Hamilton and also Ray Novickus.
They're both tough, and in order to run the option, they need to run inside to freeze those guys up.
That's the end of the first quarter with our score 7-0 in favor of St. Rita. But Mount Carmel on the move. We'll be back after this.
I tell you, there's nowhere.
St. Rita High School in Chicago for this great South Side matchup between Mount Carmel and St. Rita. Dan Miller, Mount Carmel, pitches it to Nairobi Allen. He slips and slides his way around the corner. 7-0. St. Rita leads Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel is driving. St. Rita took their first possession and went all the way for a touchdown. Sean Sierra with a nice run.
Behind some excellent blocking we might add. And that was really an excellent play by Miller, holding on to the ball to the last second. And, of course, there's somebody either tutoring or...
That's a very good spot to watch the game in case it starts to rain again. The rain's held off. We were expecting a downpour today. But it rained earlier. The field is wet, but the day is dry. Nairobi Allen straight ahead. And I think he got the first down.
Real close, and that, of course, is just a straight-ahead dive, which is the simplest play in football. And Nairobi Allen doing a nice job, only 155 pounds, but he's got some good power up there. And, of course, with this kind of footing, that's an excellent call. And I'm sure they'll measure this one. It is
really close,
This
Jack.
is real close.
They are either right on it or about an inch short. I mean, it is really close. We'll just take a look here, and they are marching. They're down just inside the 15. Oh, yeah.
Short by
maybe 6 inches.
about 6 inches there, and of course, Mount Carmel will be going for it.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of interesting as we look around here, and I'm sure later the cameras, you can panning right now. I mean, they're 6 and 8 deep no matter where you are. They're up on the walls there. The place is absolutely packed for one of the classic matchups of the 80s. Two undefeated teams, both 12-0 in a Southside rivalry.
4th down and 1. Flags are flying, and it
I think that
could be against Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel with a possible illegal procedure there with that motion back leading up in the hole, turning his shoulders a little too soon, and I believe that could be against Mount Carmel.
Dead ball, false start.
Yep, that hurts. They'll still go for it.
And they'll just bring in a different play.
See the motion man coming right here. Now he's going to lead up, and that was the left tackle. Left tackle had a cutoff block to make, and he jumped a little soon there, and that was the illegal motion.
Well, I tell you, they brought the best officials in for this game. These are the top-notch officials. They're doing a heck of a job. 4th down and 6 now. Miller looking. He's got a man open.
First down.
Got Griffin in the first down. Griffin's still on his feet. Down to the 6-yard line.
Nice call by Frank Lennon. Of course, that was an excellent job by Dan Miller. He looked off the defense and looked to the wide side post route initially, hoping to slide that safety over a little bit. And as we'll look at Miller right here, he'll look back to the left side, hoping to draw that safety off. And you just see a curl route.
No drop on the line there.
And he's wide open right there for that first down. And Mount Carmel has a 1st and 10, 1st and goal on about the 7.
And like you said, Jack, the one thing that impressed me the most was Dan Miller looking him off. He did a great job because he didn't know who he was going to throw it to. He's got Boston and Griffin split out to the bottom of your screen. Miller hands it off. This is Gersh, the fullback, straight ahead. Bodies flying all over the place.
You know, the hitting that's going on, the impact would, if this is a dry field, we'd be up here shaking and we'd have safety belts on. But on a muddy, mushy field like that, you don't get the full explosiveness because of the lack of ability to get traction to really get some impact and velocity built up. But these kids are really super aggressive. Two excellent football teams.
Well, again, remember how everyone, throw this in here, remember everyone said the Catholic League and it was overtaken by the Mid-Suburban and other leagues. Well, I tell you, what a great matchup today. Nairobi Allen brought down the line of scrimmage. Nairobi Allen.
There we got a flag on St. Rita. Now that'll be half the distance.
Got a flag, Coach.
And a late. And now he's going to head over, and the official's going to explain it to Todd Burnett.
Now that'll be half the distance, which will
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's a big game.
Well, you can hear it.
well, we don't want to hear too much of that, I'm sure. And I'm sure with
I'm not defending it. That's
as I mentioned, we really don't want to hear a lot of those conversations. But what Todd's upset about is he wants obviously to let the refs let the kids play, but you have to do that within certain restrictions. And obviously one of the St. Rita players got a little carried away with his conversation with the official. And that's 2 big penalties against St. Rita that have kept this drive going for Mount Carmel.
Yeah, don't forget, this is the drive where that started back on the Mount Carmel 35-yard line, and really they've just been plowing it up all the way down the field. Again, St. Rita giving them a little help every once in a while. And so many times they, try and tell your kids don't give penalties or turnovers. That'll help the other team. 2nd down now. I'm sorry, 3rd down. And make it about 4.
Look at that guard tackle gap right there. Guard tackle gap is wide. They move.
Allen right up the middle. No, this is Miller hands it off to Gersh, and it's no, he's not in.
And there's some real difficult traction right in that particular side of the field. And then I got a feeling they're going to try and go a little wider on the next play, maybe with that same dive fake and try and get the outside of the perimeter, because they are really in a quagmire there. It's kind of interesting. I'm watching both coaches. I'm looking back and forth. Todd Wernick was chewing on his fingernails as he was looking across at Frank Lenny to see what he was contemplating. And here's a big play now for Mount Carmel. 4th down and goal. Down 7-0.
Allen and Ed Stewart in the backfield. Miller pitches it to Allen. Allen gets to the outside, leaps it in, and he lands on his head, but he doesn't get in. Jackie landed on his head before he got over the goal line, and that's where they're saying he was down.
Let's take a look at it. We have the dive fake. Now we have the option here, and he pitches the ball to Nairobi Allen, and the cornerback releases and comes up. And you can see right there, it was an excellent call. He did get in the end zone, but he was down prior to tumbling into the end zone. And St. Rita really came up with a play there because they all but self-destructed with their own penalties on that drive.
Well, now you've got the flip side of it after you stop them. Now they've got to come up against a very tough Caravan defense. As Olinger just leans forward and follows. We're now under 7:30 left in the first half.
Oftentimes, teams will practice the same type of plays. They call them goal line going in and goal line coming out. And they're just to give you good field position as far as being able to get out and do something different with your offense. And, of course, St. Rita's on the 1-yard line, and they need to get a little more running room. And a big factor here is to get the ball out where they're in position to punt the ball.
Hey, Buzz, can you keep
2nd down and 9. They gave him a gain of 1 on the play. Olinger with Sierra off the side, and Paul Gordon lined up in the end zone. And could be time.
Could be time. That's not a big a penalty is because it's only half the distance, so it's not that big a deal as far as this situation right here. But interesting formation.
Too much time on the offense. Still 2nd down.
Interesting formation by St. Rita with the spread formation and 1 back. Kind of a passing, but for them, that's really their inside running game in many cases where they run that inside trap with Sierra.
So 2nd down, we'll almost call it 10 because they really have a long way to go. On the half-yard line, Olinger going to pass the ball. He's got Sadowski over here on the side, but Sadowski broke it inside, and he was supposed to go outside. You saw, I don't know if you caught it, Jack. You saw Todd Wernick saying
Z out. Yeah. He should have. He ran a Z in, and I think the call was a Z out. And Todd gestured to him as far as that's the particular route. Watch Olinger again looking off, and he's throwing it to a spot. And you can see right there the receiver went in, and he should have went out. And, of course, that just possibly was a miscommunication by the receiver, getting caught up in the excitement of the big game.
3rd down and a long 9.
That's when you got to stop. He was open, okay?
Right up the middle. Sierra keeps his footing and gets the 1st down. Sean Sierra with so many big runs, and to his credit this year.
And that is why he's the most valuable player in the Chicago Catholic League. That was a big 1st down. It could be this early with 6:38 left in the first half and St. Rita leaving 7-0. That could be one of the bigger plays as we look back later in the game. Right there, it's that trap again, and Sierra with a great effort right here. Tony Lawless Award winners, the Catholic League Player of the Year. Just a tough football player, 5'10", 190-pound senior. And now they're out with a little breathing room, 1st and 10.
He also was one of our prep athletes of the week. Sierra again this time. Stopped after a gain of a couple. Well, in the 80s, St. Rita with an 8-4 record in the playoffs, so they have been successful when they've gotten into the playoffs.
Well, in many cases, people talk about the Chicago Catholic League. They're always talking about, in many cases, they're lucky to get out healthy out of their own league because it's so physical from Sunday to Sunday in the Catholic League that if they have enough people left to play in the playoffs, they feel fortunate.
And then you get to the playoffs, and you got to play one of them again. Yeah. Sadowski over here. Sadowski gets
up to the 25-yard line, and another first down for the Mustangs as they keep their drive alive with 5:37 left in the first half.
Interesting call. They went to a wide slot, and what happens is the outside man, the monster's on the inside, and he has flat responsibility, and he cannot get there. And the corner has got deep out, so it's an excellent throw. They run the inside man to the flat or to the monster side, and they just throw that out pattern, 1st and 10. Good throw and a good catch.
Jeff Sadowski, when they do go to the air, is the man that they will go to. Paul Gordon, he is hit in the backfield. Tom Zaretic, I believe, number 85 on that play.
And also number 24, Warren Cushenberry, 6'2", 186-pound senior, came in and made that play.
And let's go down to Vito Squalls. He's still down there. Is it getting any muddier down there?
Brian and Frank, Jack, I want to talk about some of the reasons the traction is so tough. If the cameraman can lean down and just look at the mud on some of the kids' shoes, and you can see over here on their side of the field, it's just a mud bath. It's very hard to get this mud out of their shoes. It's going to cause some problems later on.
So you can't even get out of the sidelines onto the field.
Oh, Sean, read it.
Sean, right up, Sean Sierra.
It kind of looked
across the 25.
That kind of looked like my lawn at home from lack of care.
Well, you have the. It's unusual that this season started off with the big drought, the high temperatures, and now we're into November with cold and too much rain.
Well, not known to be an agriculturalist. I think that has a lot to do with the root system, though, not getting too deep because of the dryness, and now with all this rain.
3rd down and 9. Sean Sierra is the man they give it to, and Sean doesn't get anywhere. And St. Rita will be forced to punt.
Although they're in better shape here, obviously, than they were before, to punt from this area rather than down from their own end zone.
And again, that just getting out of there allowed them to get some yardage and also chew up some clock. It's down to 3:37 now left in the first.
But what's critical at this point is where that ball is placed to center, being able to get a good snap down there, and that's John Fitzpatrick, the center, 5'11", 200-pound senior. He made an excellent snap in their earlier punt, and again, a pretty good snap.
McClowery, end-over-ender. Hits, and it's going to just roll dead.
37-yard line.
Give it the 37 for Mount Carmel is where they will start the ball once again. Mount Carmel has started at the 37 before in their first. This is their 4th possession in the first half.
And they couldn't have had a better opportunity than they did the last time, and they weren't able to get it in.
7-0 our score, and this is the IHSA State Playoff Semifinal. The winner goes down to Normal, Illinois, and Illinois State University for the state final against either East St. Louis or Naperville North.
Pass, he's got him over the middle.
Right across the middle. He tries to make that cutback, Griffin, but it was almost like it was in slow motion. By the time he made that cut, he was caught.
That's the same play, Brian, that we had mentioned earlier where he was wide open in that first quarter. You can see he comes in motion, Mike Griffin, and it's a drag route coming down underneath and behind the linebackers, and there he is. He's underneath the secondary, and he's wide open just on that drag route coming back across the grain. Nice throw by Dan Miller.
Now we're seeing a chance. We've seen both quarterbacks throw the ball. We've seen the receivers catch it and see what they can do. We pretty much know now from here on forward what these two teams can do, and it's just who can execute. Right now, Mount Carmel once again is. And Brian Hamilton reached across and touched the center as if the center had moved. And again, Hamilton made the right move, as it'll be a penalty on the Caravan.
Well, you know, Hamilton, from a personnel standpoint, is so well placed in that defense because he's so active, 6'4", 205-pound junior, and if you put him at one tackle or one outside linebacker, most teams could run away from him. But where he's placed over the nose, utilizing his quickness, he can go down the line of scrimmage and make the plays from tackle to tackle. And he's an outstanding player.
They're going to call it a false start. Dead ball. They talked about that for a little bit, though. officials got together.
We're live.
Well,
We're live.
one of the reasons is because if that man, if he was already down, then he cannot move. But remember, who broke the plane? Hamilton reached across. In high school football, there need not be contact.
That's right.
So that's why they discussed that particular play.
So with 2:10, first down and 15.
Kind of interesting about the athletic ability of Brian Hamilton. He's also a starting forward on the basketball team at 6'4", 205. So that shows you what kind of an athlete he is. He plays right over the center.
Miller goes back and he throws a duck to Nairobi Allen. And it wasn't a long way to go. He just didn't have a good grip on the ball.
No, he did not. And that was just going to be a simple little swing screen where he kind of flares out of the backfield and he gets that tackle out in front of him and leads up on that secondary. A safe call in these conditions to the dry side of the field. Basically, there's a dry side of the field. You can see it right here. Allen just floating to the outside, and you can see the guard and tackle pulling out in front of him. So it was just a little flare screen, and he just could not get a good grip on the football.
And there you see some of the folks
that are up above us.
People. Yeah, they're up above us.
We're below that.
With
so
a nice.
I hope
nice
they're
warm.
lightweights.
just don't shake too much. And that could be a delay of game. Let's wait and see. Here's the official's call.
Dead ball, delay on the offense.
Yep, there it is.
Incomplete pass.
So it'll be second down and 20. Long way to go for the Caravan. They've got two excellent receivers in Griffin and Boston. Both of them run good routes, and we've seen them really. Miller gets them the ball. It's just at a better conditions. Those guys can be real dangerous.
Well, that's the key. We talked about that earlier, the conditions. It's pretty hard for two fast kids to make a lot of big cuts. Now, they can run straight away, but to make those quick cuts in the open field on the routes is very difficult today.
Miller, and that's, oh, he's just almost brought down, still on his feet. Novickus finally brings him down after a big St. Rita rush, and it looked like he wanted to go downfield to either Griffin or Boston.
Well, he had a long way to go. They had about 17 yards, and you can see Novickus, the left tackle, slide through. 6'4", 240-pound junior, Ray Novickus, number 77. He's going to be pretty tough next year with Brian Hamilton. Both of those young men are juniors and outstanding defensive players.
Dan McGuire also in on that play.
Now, this is one of those opportunities that you see rarely, but a quick kick situation. Because the distance is so long, they've got about 30 yards, 3rd and 30. It could be a quick kick, but it doesn't look like.
With him over center, Miller.
No, but it's going to be a shovel pass.
Nice. And Nairobi Allen is met, though.
And I'm sure Rita will call a timeout here.
Nicely done. Dave Charnot again on the play. He has had a great first half.
Clock is running, and
Valley stopped it with 47 seconds left. Looked like they called timeout a little bit earlier, but the official didn't make the signal.
Well, I think Rita's got all three timeouts. I would have thought that maybe Todd would have thought about calling that timeout on that 3rd down to get a little more time to work with once they get the football back. But, you know, we're sitting up here, Brian, very frankly, with not a lot of tension and pressure. And I say that in all sincerity. I mean, it's not that I'm not excited about being up here, but I'm not down on the sideline down there, and there's a lot going through their mind. There's a lot of conversation, and, you know, sometimes you don't glance up at that clock right away because you're talking to different people, and so he might have lost 25 seconds there, or 20 seconds, by not utilizing that timeout, but there can be outside reasons why.
Well, again, you've got so many things taking place. 7-0 our score. St. Rita, the host Mustangs, leading the Caravan. Both of the teams 12-0 coming into this game. The Southside rivalry that has been going on for many, many years. They have played over 60 times, I believe.
62 times they've played.
What a guess. What a guess.
By me or you?
Short punt that hangs up in the air and rolls out of bounds. At 37. Boy, 37 seems to be the happening number today.
It does, and it is a short punt, but under these conditions, it's not a bad punt. You know, if we were in a dry field, we'd say that was not a real good kick, and it's pretty good field position for Rita. And they're going with no huddle here as we look at the people standing all over the stadium.
They are everywhere. Anywhere you can get a view of this field, which on top of the school, if they were able to let people up there, they'd probably have them up there too. Olinger back to pass. He's got Sierra, and he gets hit in the face. The pass falls short.
But that was
Cushenberry.
great. That was great concentration by Olinger, because he sat there and Cushenberry had a pretty good run at him for about 5 yards, and Olinger was looking right down the field. As we'll see, watch how long he holds on to the football here and still throws the ball. That's terrific concentration for a high school football player. Dave Olinger, 6 foot, 180-pound senior. And, of course, the clock stops here with 34 seconds left.
Olinger now brings him up once again. Sierra, Paul Gordon, the only man in the backfield. Olinger throws it out there, almost picked off.
It's a good thing he deflected that, because that would have been picked off and nobody in front of him. At the last minute, Mullins got his hand up to deflect that out of the defender's hand, or he might have had an interception at 6 points.
Number 14, Mike Pippin, who was one of the Caravan captains, almost had a shot at that number 14. So now it'll bring up a 3rd down and 10 situation with 29 seconds left.
Good shot by our camera from the booth up here.
Sierra right up the middle. Sierra still on his feet. He is short of the 1st down. And now let's see what Todd Wernett decides to do as he holds his field goal crew down on the sidelines. A good shot of Sean Sierra. And Mount Carmel now calls the timeout with 11 seconds left. Now they will have to punt the ball.
Well, that was interesting, because Todd was going to let it run out, and Frank wasn't going to let him. He want a game like this. Each play is so very important. Who's to say it's not a bad snap over the punter's head? They scoop it up. They run in for 6. It's a short punt. The guy runs it. Anything can happen. That's why you got to take advantage of any play that you can get. There's a shot of the scoreboard at Pat Cronin Field here in St. Rita Mustangs.
And again, they're celebrating. They celebrated earlier in the season the 1963 team's state championship and mythical national championship, as they called it. And then today they're celebrating the 1978 state championship team, 10 years ago.
Well, they didn't really need to do that to get people in the stands, I'll tell you that.
11 seconds left. McClowry back to punt. Gersh is deep with Boston short. Snap is good.
Great snap.
And he kicks it away from Gersh, and it will bounce and roll. And the official, with 1 second left, with the ball dead, he was waiting for St. Rita to touch it. St. Rita wasn't going to touch it, and so they decided that with the ball dead, they will now, Mount Carmel will run one play, and we will have our halftime. So it'll be a good football game. We figured the defense would be the key in this game. It has been a very interesting first half. Now they start the clock, and now it is over. They were waiting for, they didn't even have to get the play off. So halftime, 7-0 our score. St. Rita leads Mount Carmel. We'll be back after this. Back to the prep game of the week and the IHSA state semifinal between Mount Carmel and St. Rita. At halftime, it is 7-0 in favor of St. Rita. And we will now, let's take a look at that touchdown, the only score of the ball game that we've had so far. And it was early. It was the first possession for St. Rita. St. Rita started off on their own 30-yard line and then worked their way downfield. And we'll watch Sean Sierra, Jack.
Here's the trap right now that you'll see coming with Kevin Collins trapping for Sean Sierra. And right there's heavy contact with a good downfield block. And, of course, Sierra, the Catholic League Player of the Year, the Tony Lawless Award winner for the 1988 season, on a 32-yard run in the end zone for St. Rita's only touchdown.
And again, St. Rita, you can see at that point in the game, the uniforms are very clean now. As you can see at halftime, they've gotten a little dirty. We'll do our best to pick up the numbers. That's the toughest part, is trying to pick up those numbers after they've gotten dirty. And with the score 7-0, we're going to
Well, you know,
Go ahead,
too, Mount Carmel had such a golden opportunity down inside the 5-yard line with 4 plays, and St. Rita came up with a great goal line stand, and Mount Carmel was unable to get the ball in that second quarter, which could turn out to be very crucial, because when you get in conditions like this, oftentimes one score could hold up.
Well, again, you know, something like this also, really, if you've ever heard Frank Lenti speak, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have, he is an incredible motivator. And when Lenti probably went into the halftime, he definitely told his kids to come out and play one heck of a ball game in the second half, the game of their life.
Well, there's no tomorrow, Brian. That's the key. I mean, here you are in the semifinals. You win this game, and next Saturday, after your Thanksgiving dinner, you're down in Bloomington playing for the state championship. So it really is no tomorrow.
Well, there's a man that's always thinking of Thanksgiving. Vito?
Man, I'm already counting my turkeys. We're in a situation here. I'm listening to both you guys in there talking. And you're right, there is no tomorrow. And Tom Burnett is also a great motivator. I saw him over here earlier talking to his players, and he mapped his plays out on the chalkboard. He used the brick wall, so maybe I'll use the brick wall in the second half.
Ooh.
But it's dried out here quite a bit, and you can notice that, well, you can tell from upstairs that the field is in much better condition. That bodes well for Mount Carmel because they depend a little bit more on their passing game.
Oh, no, Vito, we're up here. We've got lazy boys. We've got really nice plush interior here in the press box. It's wonderful.
And you guys haven't sit me down. Any coffee, no hot dogs.
Brian, pass the hot
milk
cocoa, please.
Yes, another round for Jack and I. Hot cocoa, please. Again, Vito down there on the sidelines. Not much of the sidelines here at St. Rita, but 10 feet on both sides of the field. St. Rita will receive the kickoff here to start the second half, and Mount Carmel will kick it off.
St. Rita had deferred in the first half, Brian, so that they could get the ball in the second half.
Norville will kick it off, the tight end who caught that pass to get Mount Carmel here. Sierra lets it go over his head, and now Gordon picks it up, and he is on the move. Gordon up the left side. Paul brought down. And Mount Carmel and St. Rita start the second half here. 7-0 St. Rita. Brian Handerhan, Jack McInerney, Vito Squalls down on the field. A great, great football game. Let's take a look now at the Mount Carmel defense. We'll flip. We'll get that in just a minute. St. Rita offense.
Spread coming out, spreading them out right off the bat.
2 receivers split down. And it is Paul Gordon who goes over the right side. But he just put his head down and he saw that there was nothing there. Flags on the play.
And from where that flag was thrown, it looks like a holding call, possibly against St. Rita.
Here the St. Rita Mustangs on offense. They go with Sadowski, Franzese, Collins, Fitzpatrick, Koval, Klintz, and Mullins. And in the backfield, Bollinger, Sierra, Gordon, and Findez.
Well, Mount Carmel would love to get good field position here early in the second half because, you know, they wasted that one opportunity where they were down in St. Rita inside the 5 on St. Rita and were unable to score in the second quarter.
Big guy. Holding on the offensive line on the offense. Still first down.
Good place for it.
Good place for it. We mentioned that that's what we thought it was by where they threw the flag. But again, now St. Rita having 1st and 20 in their own territory.
Findez and Sadowski to the bottom. Mullins to the top. Split out. Sierra straight up the middle. Sierra gets about a yard on 1st and 20.
And Mount Carmel playing a 2-deep coverage with St. Rita spreading the field. They want to keep that inside where those inside linebackers and those people are solid, so they're making movements with their secondary to take care of the coverage on the outside.
The Mount Carmel defense, O'Hara, Banks, Zaretic, Gabrioni, Yeager, Estrada, and Cushingberry. And then Schumacher, Pippin, Hansen, and Mowat are in the defensive backfield. So it brings up a 2nd down and 18. They gave him a gain of 2 on the play. Ollinger and another Another flag. Looks like they going to be on the line of scrimmage call. It's going to be Paul Gordon.
It's going to be against St. Rita again.
Yeah, Paul Gordon was upset on the call on that one.
Ball. False start offensive line. Still second down.
Again, everyone, Jack, is trying to get the right footing. If you don't get the right footing and you don't get the right start, then you're almost gone for the whole play.
Well, you know, and the other part of it is I mean, you don't write down in your game plan these kind of situations to have plays for this. I mean, they're looking at a 2nd and 20, 22, and, you know, you can throw the ball at the field. You still have opportunities, obviously, but we're looking at a situation where it's an opportunity for a screen or a draw.
And it's going to be Paul Gordon right up the middle. Paul gets some good yardage. About 5 on the play, but they still have a long way to go here on 3rd down. And again, when you get in those situations, especially right off the bat, like you said, Jack, ideal situation here for Mount Carmel to get the ball if they punt.
A little counter trap there by St. Rita trying to pop Gordon into the secondary. And he picks up 5 yards, which is under any other circumstance would be a nice gain, but they still come up short, and they're looking at a 3rd and 15. Again, St. Rita spreading the field with the formation, a slot to the wide side and a split to the short.
And it is Paul Gordon. Paul Gordon gets a nice block. He almost kept it going. He had some good blocking. Paul Gordon coming out fired up here in the second half. He has been upset with something like obviously the fact that they're stopping him maybe, but he's really coming out fired up here, and the punting team will now come on for St. Rita.
Todd Werner was a little upset there. He was looking for a clip, and let's see if we can see it. Again, it's the same play they ran prior to this. The little counter trap with Paul Gordon, and right there is what they're looking for. They're looking for a late hit where they could have picked up the 1st down, but the official didn't buy it.
So 4th down, another good snap. They've been consistent. And a nice kick there by McClowry. And Boston takes the ball, goes right back up. Oh, did he get hit hard? Boston gets clocked, and they will start it at the 43-yard line.
Good coverage by St. Rita on that punt. And it was really under the circumstance, again, we mentioned, without trying to be too redundant, how important it is to get a good snap from that center, because he's in a quagmire down there, and he's putting the ball right on the money. And, of course, that was also a real good kick by the punter.
Mount Carmel fans are up on their feet. Dan Miller back to pass. He's got a man, Griffin, wide open over there, and he gets to Griffin after he turned upfield. I don't think Griffin realized he was going to throw the ball to him because he was open for so long.
Well, what was happening on that, it was a sideline and go, and when Miller looked at him initially, he was in his sideline mode, and Miller was holding off, and the moment he turned right here, you can see right there, the ball is in the air, and they pick up the 1st down. It was a fine throw by Miller.
Griffin turned at the right time. Mike Griffin. Dan Miller, the person he most likely would like to meet, Vanna White.
Well, so would I.
Wouldn't we all? Right up the middle. Gain of about 2. The Mount Carmel school, they put out a little book on the seniors, and the seniors, they asked them these questions, their favorite foods and all kinds of things like that. And that was Dan Miller's, the person you would most like to meet. Let's take a look at the Mount Carmel offense. Mark Norville, Ackland, McGuire, Newman, Bart Newman, a very good one, McCardle. And then Miller, Gersh, Allen, Boston, and Griffin, the backfield, and the receivers. Miller back to pass again. He's got a man over here, and he's got Griffin, and Griffin gets out of bounds.
Same play that we saw to the other side of the field earlier, that little sideline. And Miller is throwing the ball exceptionally well. We mentioned earlier that we thought it might be down to the quarterback.
Miller, again, good point. We said that they both had good backfields. They had good receivers, good linemen. And again, the game was going to come down to these quarterbacks. A nice pass by Miller.
Excellent pass on an out route when you really have to get something on the ball. When you throw the out, you're throwing it further than you are when you're throwing anything over the middle. And he did a nice job of throwing that ball.
You saw it on the replay, Jack. You can't even see the sidelines anymore. For one reason is the fact that they are very tough to see because we are right on top of this field. Miller, first down and 10. Miller looking to pass again. He's got a man across the middle. Boston's got it. Boston across the 20-yard line. He got a face full of mud.
Frank Lente's shown a lot of confidence in Dan Miller, his 6'2", 190-pound senior, who really has led him to this point. Got a penalty here, Brian.
Motion on Mount Carmel. So that'll bring it back.
At the snap, offense, 2 men moving, still first down.
Well, you have a lot of guys moving here. The St. Rita defense, there you see them. And we'll set the St. Rita defense for you. Hamilton, Clint, Novicus, Guzik, McGuire, Charnot, Kingsbury. Charnot having a good ball game. McClowry, Smith, Pena, and Curtin. We're all back, all set up once again. So first down and 15 after the penalty. Miller looking to pass. He's got him across the middle, but he throws it too far.
And he actually had his outside man open more than that post route was open. He threw the ball well, but he just overthrew the receiver on that post. But he did have a man on the sideline route that was wide open.
Watch it again, Jack. You can see it. Watch the top of your screen.
Top of your screen, and where that curl route right there, he's wide open. You can see how far off the corner is, but he goes for the post route.
And those St. Rita defenders were inching that way, too, up the middle, instead of looking over on the sideline. And Miller brings them up.
In many cases, you tell your defenders, try and give him the out and take away the inside route because it's easier to throw it because it's a closer, shorter arm there. You've got to use more arm to throw it wider, which is to the outside.
Second down and 15. He goes out to the sideline again, and he gets out of bounds. Griffin has been his man.
I can't tell you what a great pass that was. He put that ball right over his shoulder and let him right up the field.
What's also interesting is that they're keeping Norval in, and their tight end who caught that great tip pass, and they're keeping him inside the block.
Well, that and the fact that if the safety or monster's reading him, he'll stay in also in a little tighter, which will open up that outside route. If they're keen on that tight end, that will keep him inside.
Todd Burnett pacing the sidelines. Third down and 7. 6:12 left in the third quarter. 7-0 St. Rita. Miller. He's going deep. He's got it wide open, and that's Norval. Touchdown, Mount Carmel. Well, Jack, I mentioned that we hadn't seen Norval go out in the pass, and there he was. All of a sudden, he just shoots upfield, wide open.
Well, that was a fine throw. He waited till the last minute for him to clear. He got suckered up on the curl route. They ran it to 2-receiver side, and he just kept going right up the sideline, and Miller laid the ball right on the money, and he has been very impressive throwing the ball under these very adverse conditions here.
Very important extra point here, and Norval will have the honors. Very, very muddy where he is lined up. Snap is down, and it's blocked. Oh, boy. Very, very big. 7-6 our score.
And what was interesting is his plant foot, the foot that he put down just prior to kicking, was in a very slippery area, and if we had a chance to see it again, we'll see that he really didn't get good leverage underneath his body when he planted. Now, that wouldn't have said it would not have been kicked, because really that man came in on touch.
Well, as we said, remember, as I said before they kicked the ball, they did. It wasn't easy to sit there in that little muddy patched area to kick an extra point at this point of the game.
Of course, St. Rita has those big people inside.
And, Jack, we talked about the touchdown, how Norval came shooting up the sideline. Let's watch him.
Let's watch him. He's right up at the top there. You'll see he runs right up at a bench route. The curl man, the corner jumps the curl, and he's wide open. You can see right there the corner tried to turn and go with him, but it was a little too late. Miller laid the ball right over his shoulder. And Norval, Mark Norval, 6'1", 188 pounds, he made that miracle reception last week against Homewood Flossmoor. Does it again for Mount Carmel. But then St. Rita comes up with the big block, and right now we're looking at a 7-6 ball game with 6:06 left in the third quarter. This has turned out to be everything we thought it would be.
And the block pumped up the St. Rita crowd. The touchdown pumped up the Mount Carmel crowd. Norval with a low line drive hanger. taken by the up man. And he gets around and whoa, he just put his head down and went forward. Good run back by Javier Pena, the defensive back, in there to return the ball. 6 minutes on the nose left in the third quarter. 7-6 our score. And with the crowd going wild, that means that Vito's got to be around. Vito?
Brian, in the interest of fairness, let's script this, the Mount Carmel touchdown. Dan Miller, who's a wonderful player. Hold on, I'll wait till after this play.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Vito. Olinger, first down and 10. They'll start it on a very muddy field. He's got it. Sierra, nice grab. Sierra down the sideline. Cut it back, and he's finally brought down. And everybody called for a late hit, but Sierra brought down after a nice grab. Sierra went behind him to get that ball. First down on the play.
He had to turn back, and under these conditions, a very difficult catch. And there was a man open down the sideline. We'll see Sierra coming slipping out of the backfield right here, and watch him have to turn back to the inside to make this catch. Now that's really a great athletic move by Sierra to make that catch. And there was a man open downfield, and you'll see right here, right at the end of the play, coming into your picture, right here is where Todd Winnett thought it should be a late hit.
Paul Gordon up the middle. Paul with some room. Oh boy, did he want that one. We have seen both of the running backs when they get out. Do you see all that real estate in front of you? Oh boy, you just can't keep your footing.
Well, even though Mount Carmel just scored, a big play that turned the momentum a little bit back to St. Rita was the big block. They come back with a nice play to Sierra, and now a nice run by Gordon, so the momentum's back for them again. They're looking at second and short, middle of the field. They've got the adrenaline pumping now.
Second down and 1. Paul Gordon goes through there tentatively and doesn't get the first down. Actually, maybe lost a half a yard. Let's go back down to Vito if he's got his clipboard all set up.
Okay, Brian.
Oh, you are? Okay, you
Yeah, Brian, before Sierra rudely interrupted me with that play, this is where we were. We wanted to show you that Dan Miller has really impressed me as a quarterback. Important thing is what he did is he looked off. This is my Jack Hill, appreciate this. He looked off this way, and his receiver just ran on a fly pattern straight down the field. Bingo, touchdown. But something else that Jack mentioned, which is very important. A lot of problems here footing in the between the hash marks. Hamilton is unable to get any type of footing. He's their main man in the middle here, and what's happening is that he's got two kids blocking off on him and just moving him whichever way he goes. So that's something to consider in the second half. Where does this man right here, Hamilton, line up?
Well, your board looks as messy as the field.
Well, we wanted realism, didn't we, Brian?
Well, I tell you, who needs replays?
Now that's not snow on their heads. That's a little
The confetti.
confetti. And while Vito was diagramming that, St. Rita ran a quarterback sneak to pick up the first down.
Just across the 50-yard line now, Paul Gordon back to the line of scrimmage on first down and 10. Well, this game, as you've been saying, we've been saying the whole game. It's been what we expected, a close ball game, tough defensive game. And boy, the emotion on both of these sidelines is amazing.
Well, it's interesting to look down at the St. Rita sideline. The coaches are about 5 yards out onto the field. You can't tell where the sideline is.
It's gone. It's going to be a tough call. If it comes down to a close call, where exactly the sideline should be, these officials are going to have to make the call. Olinger looking to go down the field. He's got a man wide open. He's got Findez. It's almost hit and picked off.
What a great play. Athletic ability there by number 40. Enrico Mount, Carmel Moat, 6 foot, 185-pound junior. That was an outstanding play off a deflected pass.
Amazing catch by Enrico Moat. What a grab. Not sure who tipped it, but what a great play.
I believe that was tipped by Dave Hansen, the corner on that side, and then he came over the top of the safety and made that play. Great high school play. And certainly stopped that drive by St. Rita.
Well, it stopped it cold. And now Dan Miller and his fired up Mount Carmel team come out. right up the middle. Looks like Nairobi Ellen. Gain of about 3 on the play. And
that's one of the drier areas of the field down there, Brian, and that most plays for our fans at home are really run from the hash mark. The ball, 80% of the time, the ball is snapped. It's snapped from a hash mark. And in this particular case, the best parts of the field are on the outside of the hash marks.
so you would think that they would maybe run that.
Well, they did that time. And again, they have a slot, wide slot to the high part of the screen.
Dan Miller got to
Flanker
set up
screen.
a little screen over here. They tried to get to the outside. Good defense.
Interesting call there. They faked the little counter option, and they threw it directly back to that wide side of the field. And what they do by formation, it sets up the screen. The one receiver becomes the blocker for the other receiver who catches the ball. So it's really a one-man screen out there to the wide slot. Interesting call. And Mount Carmel's now got a big decision to make here with 3rd and about 7.
Well, let's see. Todd Burnett working the sidelines. Every once in a while, I glance down to him and across to Frank Linty. Let's see what they do. He's going across the middle. He's got Boston and McClowry. They both bumped.
He got bumped.
Just before the ball got there, I think they're going to call it a McClowry.
It's interesting where these little breaks have come. And let's watch the bottom of the screen. The man is running a post. We'll see the ball in the air, and we'll see contact right prior to that where you saw the bat. That was where we saw it. A pretty good call by the official. It's a first down for Mount Carmel.
McClowry got there just a little bit too early. Again, he was going for the ball as well. And I'm not sure. Let's listen to the referee's call.
Pass interference by the defense. First down automatically.
And naturally, we're on St. Rita's side, and of course, they're not too happy with any kind of penalties against St. Rita, but it looked like a pretty good call from here, and the officials are doing a great job.
Exactly. He definitely bumped him. Miller across the middle. He's got his man. That's Griffin. Griffin, what a grab. Miller
How is Miller throwing that ball like that, Brian? It's incredible.
He is throwing the ball so well.
Dan Miller, 6'2", 190-pound senior. And let's watch the way he just stands in there and he really drills that ball right on the money. He's right in the seam.
3 guys, Jeff.
He's behind the linebackers and he's in front of the safety and he's right in that seam, and Miller is drilling it right in there, which on a dry field I wouldn't be all that impressed, but this is sensational.
You expect Mount Carmel to churn out the big guys, the front linemen, but you don't expect to see this performance by a Mount Carmel quarterback. He is having a great day, and he is hitting his guys. And there he is again. He hits his man. It's Griffin. Griffin, once again. He gets tripped up, though, but he gets the first down.
Well, what's happening, I think, is they're catching St. Rita is not rotating with the motion man. Let's take a look. You'll see at the top of the screen, it's man coverage. It's really a zone, but they're getting nobody in the flat. He's sliding over, but he's too deep, and there's nobody in the flat. They're not rotating back. And the outside man runs the corner off, and they just dump it over to him. And they'll keep coming back to this till St. Rita starts rotating.
First down as they're trying to set the chains. They've got the chains set now. First down and 10. 7-6 our score. The clock running with 18 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Miller hands it off straight up the middle. It's Ed Stewart right up the middle with the ball. And the time will run out here in the 3rd quarter with Mount Carmel driving. We have got one heck of a ball game moving into the 4th quarter. 7-6, St. Rita leads.
A lot of people out there, I guess, talk a good game, but comes time to put up, it's a little bit different story.
Good, solid players. They have been doing it for a while. Johnson right up the middle, and he's going to score! Touchdown! Welcome back to the prep game of the week and our IHSA coverage, the semifinal game. If you are a high school football fan, this is a game for you. 7-6 is our score. Mount Carmel driving, St. Rita leading 7-6. Here in the fourth quarter, we're just underway. The fourth quarter, Dan Miller back to pass. He's looking, he's got going for Norville down the sideline. Almost picked off. Good defensive coverage by the Mustangs.
And this weather certainly is not affecting Dan Miller's throwing ability. It might be affecting the receivers and the defensive backs, but Miller is putting the ball on the money on every throw.
Well, and also when Norville ran that route, he ran it right down perfectly nice, unmuddied grass. Once again, Brian Hanrahan, Jack McNerney up here in the booth. Vito Squalls down on the sideline. It is wild here at St. Rita, Pat Cronin Field. Dan Miller to Nairobi Allen, and a big, big cluster of Mustangs bring him down.
Now it's decision time here for Frank Lenthe. He's got fourth and 6.
Yeah.
Down 7-6, just started the fourth quarter here. And of course, punting would really serve no purpose for him. Now,
do you go to the pass or the run?
Well, I'll tell you what, right, they have not run the outside part of the veer yet, the option part of it, but Miller's throwing the ball so darn well, and earlier Rita was not caught in rotation when they went into motion. We might see that play again where Mount Carmel goes in motion and throws the ball again. I think they'll be throwing it here.
Miller, he looks, he's got a man right up the middle, it's Norville, and he's got it! Brought down by McClowry. Down close to the 5-yard line.
And he is right in that seam, and Miller putting the ball right on the money.
Mark Norville.
Here comes Dan Miller out on the snap, and he's looking all the way. Looked away just for a second, and he's got those gloves on. You can see he puts the ball right on the money. Nice catch by Norville under pressure, but still, Dan Miller had to put the ball right there, and he is wearing those type of gloves that Jim McMahon used to wear in those cold weather. So I mean that has a lot to do with it.
First down on the 6-yard line. Miller tried to keep it himself and got maybe back to the line of scrimmage if he's lucky. Again, they're only 50%. They're 1 out of 2 tries when they get close. Remember, St. Rita stopped them earlier. The Mount Carmel got in their 1 touchdown on a pass.
You can see the gloves there that Dan Miller is wearing. It's those new type of gloves that you see a lot of the NFL players wearing. Since they banned Stickum, they now allow you to wear those aqua type gloves. It's kind of interesting. Kids wear them, and if they can do the job, more power to them. And obviously they're working for Dan Miller.
Second down. Miller, deep pitch to Allen. Nothing. He is back to the line of scrimmage, maybe. He's inbound still. That pitch was almost a dangerous pitch, too. I wasn't sure if he was going to get it to Allen.
What was interesting is Allen slipped coming out initially, and of course Miller's now watching Allen come out, and he pitched it blind, and Nairobi caught up to it at the last second because he slipped initially coming out of his stance. Now we're in a situation here as we look at third down. They want it. You throw the ball, if you throw the ball, it's incomplete. It'll be brought back to the same spot, and this is one of the drier areas for a field goal attempt. So let's keep that in mind. And of course, last time the field goal the extra point was blocked.
Miller looking, he's got Norville.
Got him wide open.
Wide open, touchdown, Mount Carmel.
Blew the coverage there, the corner, the outside man cleared the person to the inside, the corner to the inside, in man coverage. Nobody had Norville going out into the flat, and he was wide open for a big touchdown. Great throw again by Dan Miller, number 7. And then let's watch as we can see the top of the screen. Little option fake there. You'll see a man coming to the top of the screen right here, and Norville going to the outside, and you can see the safety trying to catch up. That was his man. He never made the switch. And Norville was open out in the flat, and Miller found him for 6.
Well, the all-important extra point here with a 12-7 score. And you will remember...
And they'll go for 2, I think.
They are going to go for 2.
Well, when you're down, when you miss the first one, the normal logic is to go for 2, then the second time you score.
The footing is tough. Miller looking to pass. Norval is not open, and they overthrow him. Very important now. The St. Rita touchdown puts them ahead. But again, a touchdown in this kind of weather is very, very difficult.
But you know, we say that, but boy, Dan Miller doesn't know that yet, does he? I mean, he's marched Mount Carmel up and down the field by throwing the ball. They really have not been able to penetrate St. Rita. This basically is the same play going back in the other direction. A little option fake. Got a man coming in, and he throws it to the outside man. You can see right here, just overthrew it here. Good coverage. And I think there was a mix-up on that particular route, but it was basically the same pattern they ran for the touchdown.
So with 9:10 left in the ball game, Mount Carmel goes ahead 12-7. Whoa, boy.
Well, you know, it's such a shame because both these teams 12-0. It comes down to this, and there's going to be a loser. We know that. Somebody is not going to finish the season undefeated here, and somebody else is not going to go down to Bloomington next week, and it's really a shame. But, you know, this is the kind of game that 10 years, 15 years from now, you and I will be talking about, and people that are here, because it is one of those classic matchups that they'll always be talking about. In 1988, when St. Rita played Mount Carmel, and they were both 12-0, and it's really kind of exciting to think that we were here, being able to enjoy and witness this great ball game.
Well, we knew it was going to be a good football game before we got here. Every person that's here knew it was going to be a game. That's why they are here, and we are just going to sit back and watch this fourth quarter as both teams with outstanding athletes. Mark Norville to kick it off. Paul Gordon is deep. Got Sean Sierra and Javier Pena back there as well. Norville, low line drive. And Pena just knocks it out of bounds. At about the 17-yard line.
And had he let it go out of bounds, Mount Carmel would have had a kick again, and now St. Rita gets the ball in very poor field position.
That would have been tough to decide whether or not that was actually going to roll out of bounds or stay in bounds. And Pena made the decision that he was going to knock it out. St. Rita cheerleaders and fans now trying to get their team fired up once again. Olinger comes up with Sierra and Gordon in the backfield. That's why Mike Campbell and Sadowski split out at the bottom of the screen. And Olinger is going to go to the air. Olinger looking across the middle. It's intercepted by Mount Carmel. Intercepted by Matt Yeager, one of the captains for the Caravan.
Dave Olinger just made a poor decision here. He threw it right into coverage. The linebacker was right there. He had pretty good pass protection. He's looking at the out man, and he just holds, and now he delivers right here, and you'll see the linebacker coming right in. And what happened is the longer Olinger held the ball, that linebacker kept just getting deeper and deeper in his drop and came right underneath that receiver and picked it off. And now Mount Carmel's in the driver's seat with 8:45 left in the ball game.
We're starting on the 32-yard line. Dan Miller. Hey, great. No, it's number 70. I thought it was Novickus, but no, it's Bill Quint.
Big Bill.
Whoa, boy, did he get there.
6'4", 240 pounds, and he really stuck him.
My teeth are jarred because of that one. He hit him hard. Watch it again, Jack.
Now watch this counter option right here, and he comes in untouched and puts the helmet and shoulder pads right on Little. And I mean Little. Nairobi Allen, 5'8", 155, going against 6'4", 240. That's not the kind of matchup that Mr. and Mrs. Nairobi Allen would like to see.
Caravan once again, second down. Oh, everybody, yeah. That wasn't, you could tell everyone started in a different count on that one. Both crowds are making a lot of noise, so it's very tough to pick it up.
Well,
Foul before the snap. Dead ball foul. False start by the offense.
Frank Lente, I'm sure, very upset about this. He needs to keep the ball down in this territory and at best try and go for a field goal, or at worst, with 7:50 on the clock and being up 12-7. He doesn't need those type of penalties.
Second down.
Trying off that ball. You can see the official doing a little bit of work on it as well. Dan Miller, back to pass. Got a man across the middle. Got him. That's Boston. Carl Boston with the reception. He is just throwing the ball like an all-pro.
He really is, and, you know, we need to credit the Mount Carmel offensive line. They're doing a nice job of pass protecting for Dan Miller. Let's look at the top of the screen. That's where all the action is. You see the outside man running the bench and go, and the inside man curling, and the ball is right on the money. And you normally have areas that you're aiming for. In that case, it's the hash mark. His job is to come in and curl on the hash.
Miller keeps the ball. Stays in bounds. Is that clock? They haven't made a signal yet. Whether or not he was inbounds or out, they're keeping the clock running. They did not make it. They did not make a signal. Let's go down to Vito Squalls while this is all happening. Vito?
Brian? Hello, Brian.
Hello, Vito.
Brian. Brian, we seem to have seen a tide and a turn in emotion here on the St. Rita side. The emotional level is down a bit. Let's see what Mount Carmel can get out of this.
Nairobi Allen takes it in the clear. Still on his feet. Touchdown. The Caravan score again.
That was an excellent run by Nairobi Allen, just cutting it back against the green. He didn't make any big moves, but he kept his feet the whole time. He's working up the field, and he's just cutting back behind his left side of his offensive line. And he just got into the end zone, and that's a big touchdown. Bring the score to 18-7 with 6:33 in the clock and in the ball game. Now let's watch the moves that Nairobi Allen puts on as he's running here. Here's the first move right here. He cuts back right there. That's a big move in this kind of weather. But again, he's running into past the hash mark where the field is not as chopped up as it is in the middle of the field. Nice run by Nairobi Allen and a big touchdown.
Now let's wait and see what the Mount Carmel offense decides to do here. With the ball right in the middle of the field. They're taking their time. Did they call a timeout? I didn't see any signal.
I didn't notice either, Brian.
Mount Carmel did call a timeout here. Now they would discuss their strategy. Frank Valenti, head coach, out on the field. They're Mount Carmel cheerleaders.
Well,
let's bring a prep fact in for you right now. We haven't had it all game long, and it's totally fair that we will bring it to you right after this. 2 points. They will go for the two-pointer. Miller looking right across the middle, tipped, and Otto. Everybody's chance of getting that one. St. Rita putting out a very, very good defensive stint right there. Now you have an 18-7 ball game. Jack?
Well, St. Rita at this point obviously going to have to put the ball up in the air, and we've seen Oliger earlier in the year, and he's capable of throwing it. But the conditions are what's going to dictate how well they throw it. And we don't have any doubts about how well he can throw the football, but obviously the conditions have not been the same for St. Rita from the standpoint of Dan Miller throwing the ball. He has thrown the ball so well in this football game, and only going to have a little trouble when he has passed, and we're going to have to see him doing it now.
Let's go down to Vito. Vito?
Ryan, I'm down here with Jerry Bybee from the 63 National Championship team with Rita. And Jerry, at this point, obviously the emotional tide has shifted. What does Rita have to do to get back in this one?
They're going to have to start throwing the ball more and maybe go back to Sean Sierra, because it seems they went away from their game plan since the first quarter.
What do you think happened after halftime?
This team seems like they had a 7-0. They always lost their killer instinct in the second half.
Okay, Brian, that's it from the sideline. Back to you.
Just one of the fans and down on the field.
Well, St. Rita needs 2 scores here, so going back to Sierra with 6:33, if given the opportunity in field position, that's possible, but they still need 2 scores, and so they're going to have to go up top with the ball.
Well, I can tell you that this Paul Gordon gets this ball, he is going to run like you've never seen Paul Gordon run the ball. He is thinking end zone.
Some of these kids only have 6 minutes of football left in their careers.
Paul Gordon comes up to play it. It bounces short. He picks the ball up.
What is he doing?
Run.
What is he
can
doing?
Run.
Sure he can run.
Yeah, I don't know what the officials, he thought the officials blew the whistle or someone blew the whistle.
Boy, was that a strange play. I don't know unless he thought he was in the end zone. I don't know what he was thinking of.
Well, he's saying to the official that he thought that he could, that once he picked the ball up that it was dead. Some people are saying they thought they heard a whistle.
See, the ball goes through his legs. Now, he might have lost sight of where he might have thought that was the goal line. That's the only thing that I can possibly think of. See, he's looking right now to the left and right, but the whistle hasn't blown. That was a tough play for him.
Well, started on the 8-yard line. Long way to go for St. Rita. Dave Olinger looking downfield. He's got a lot of time. There's a hold. He throws it short to Sadowski. I think there was a hold on the play.
Well, I'm sure there would be, Brian. When you hold that long as far as sitting back there with the ball in your hand after a while.
Olinger is down, and he looks like he is hurt.
74, Gene, 74.
The holding on the play. Olinger, when he was over here on the sideline in Mount Carmel, had just scored. I looked down, and Dave had his head down. He really wasn't happy with himself. But again, you know, it's the guys that pick themselves up by their bootstraps in this situation and head downfield. So,
well, you know, in high school football, anything can happen. And in most cases, it's sometimes easier to happen when you have better conditions than this. What's going to happen here is it happened just prior to that. Mount Carmel is not going to be suckered in by any play-action fakes. So, you know, they're going to be playing real soft and giving St. Rita things underneath, but nothing over the top. You can see the wall there in the end zone of St. Rita Stadium.
That wall is at their backs right now. 18-7 our score.
Mount Carmel's changing up their defense at the last minute on St. Rita.
Olinger looking to get rid of it. He goes across the middle to Sadowski. He overthrows him by a little bit. But again, Olinger is hit hard after he releases the ball.
Mount Carmel's disguising their defenses very well. They're waiting till near the last moment to be changing up and running their secondary up and back, giving the looks of different types of zones that they're showing to St. Rita.
Yeah, there's that prep fact we were going to bring to you a little bit ago here. Mount Carmel has played St. Rita 62 times more than any other team, but this will be the school's first state playoff meeting. Mount Carmel, I believe, leads the series. Olinger back to pass. He's got Paul Gordon. Paul trying to cut it back, and he can only get to the 4-yard line.
About the 5-yard line.
It's gotten awful quiet over here on the St. Rita side. The place is still absolutely packed, but the St. Rita fans know that they need to get two scores here with 5:30 and the clock running in the fourth quarter. And it's going to be very difficult against a very stingy Mount Carmel defense.
Well, they're over on the better side of the field. Mendez brings the play in. We have to hustle it up here. We have a lot of time. On the 30-second clock. Sadowski and Mendez split out. Paul Gordon. And he goes to Mullen, and he overthrew Mullen.
Brings up a 4th down.
From the looks of it now, Mount Carmel might get that revenge factor if East St. Louis beats Naperville North. Mount Carmel's got a chance to go up against them.
Very good point. I remember last year in the semis.
Mount Carmel traveled down to Parsons Field and was beat by East St. Louis, and East St. Louis is the favorite in that bracket to beat Naperville North, and we could see that matchup again in 5 more minutes. We'll know if Mount Carmel will be making that trip to Bloomington.
McClowry to punt. Gets off an end-over-ender. Nobody back for Mount Carmel as the ball rolls.
They didn't want any mistakes there, Brian, of anybody touching the ball or fumbling it, so they didn't put anybody back.
So they move it up. They'll start at the 50-yard line. with 4:52 left. 18-7 our score. 18 points by Mount Carmel in the second half.
You know, with 4:50 left, I want to extend my congratulations to Sports Vision for bringing the Prep Game of the Week. It's really been a boom to high school football in the Chicago suburban area. People are really talking about what an excellent job they've done and how exciting it has been, and I think that's a tribute to Sports Vision and Group W Cable.
WCW, Channel 25 in Chicago, Group W and Sports Vision, teaming up once again this year after really finishing our second year of high school football. Keeps gaining and gaining. More people keep tuning in to the Prep Game of the Week and also Prep Talk.
Well, I feel like a pretty lucky guy being able to coach high school football and also then being able to see the game and make comments up in the booth with you and, of course, with Vito. And I'm, you know,
a lot easier up
here. State challenge. It's a lot easier up here. A lot easier.
Dan Miller looking to pitch it. He holds on to it and gets crunched.
You won't see him pitching it, I don't think, with 3:50 left and clock running. But I just want to say thanks, Brian, to you and to Vito for our second year. It's been a lot of fun. And next week I'll be fortunate enough to be down in Bloomington doing 3 of the state championship games with Mike Liederman. And I'm pretty excited about that. We'll be doing the 1, 3, and 5A championship games. And, of course, get the opportunity to see some great high school football.
And then you get to sit back and enjoy this one.
Yeah.
Whoever plays the 6A. So that sounds pretty fair. We're going to take a quick timeout here with 3:31 left. It is 18-7 Mount Carmel. Back after this.
More and more families are moving closer and closer to our forests. That's why, if you're careless with fire when you go to the forest, you could burn a lot more than trees.
This is the increasingly competitive world we live in, and this is the country we want ahead of the competition. These are the people we'll be depending on to keep this country ahead of the competition. These are the colleges and universities we're relying on for the people we're depending on to keep this country ahead of the competition. So if you want America to stay #1 in the world, do something about it. Give to the college of your choice.
As an athlete, it's especially painful to watch cocaine destroy those around me. How could these heroes with so much strength and discipline fall for cocaine? They thought they could control it. That's the big lie. No one controls cocaine. So don't blame them. Learn from them. If you're using cocaine, get help.
Call 1-800-662-HELP.
You were the first in this family to get into college.
I'm so proud of you.
I can't go, can I? Just can't afford to send you.
I didn't mean to let you down.
I understand. Maybe next year. Maybe.
Hard-working students deserve a chance. Please, support the United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
At 18-7. Mount Carmel now in punt formation with the 4th down and about 5 yards to go. Slipping, and St. Rita went for it. Ball rolls out of bounds. A nice punt will be inside the 20-yard line, and now St. Rita, with 3:19 left, needs 2 6-point touchdowns to go ahead.
Again, the specialty teams of Mount Carmel doing a great job at center, putting the ball on the money, and of course the punter getting the kickoff under pressure and putting St. Rita down in a hole on about their own 14-yard line with 3:19 left on the clock. It's been a great football game, but St. Rita certainly has their work cut out for them.
Ollinger now looking to throw the ball. He's got some protection. He's got Sean Sierra, and Sean drops the ball as he was turning to go off the field. Sierra, we haven't heard much from him from the running game, I guess, at this point.
No, he had 46 yards, I believe, in the first half, but Carmel's control the football. As we look at St. Rita right now dropping back to pass, they're trying to get the linebackers to drop, and they bring Sierra out of the backfield underneath. But at this stage of the game, Mount Carmel is going to be dropping those people. You're not going to be able to go deep on them, and so St. Rita's trying to dump the ball underneath and look for the long gainer.
Ollinger. Back to pass. He's got Sadowski right over the middle, wide open. Sadowski's got the ball.
3:05 left. The clock will stop while they make the chains moving. So St. Rita not lining up on the football.
At the 30-yard line. Nice pass by Ollinger to Sadowski. He was wide open, waving his arms and everything.
You can see Gordon and Sierra. Everybody's going out of the backfield. And of course, Mount Carmel's got everybody dropping off, except they're down 4. And he drills the ball right over the middle there to Sadowski. And now St. Rita's up on the football in a spread formation.
1st and 10. Sadowski, or Ollinger, trying to get away. Ollinger finally brought down. And they're going to call a penalty.
Well, that was Warren Kusenberry, number 24, that first got a hold of him coming from the outside linebacker spot. 6'2", 186-pound senior made the initial hit.
And Ollinger's holding his right hand again, his right wrist. He has gotten it bashed up today.
You'll see right there, that's Kusenberry making the initial hit and slowing him down and spinning him around.
First down.
It's hard to tell where that
penalty was after the play was dead. Late hit by the defense. First down, red.
Yeah, they blew the whistle and then they threw him down, and that's what they're saying. That was the late hit. Clock winding at 2:40. 2:40. Ollinger in the shotgun. Back to pass. He's looking and he gets creamed, but he lets off a good pass. Oh, just got too much air under it.
Another flag, Brian.
Another flag, and he got hit hard. Ollinger. You can see him. He is like a fighter that's just trying to hang in there.
Well, St. Rita's kind of out of their element. Their the strength of their team, at least offensively this year, has, of course, been their running game.
It's a hold on St. Rita.
And, of course, when you have to go into the second phase of your offense, which would be the passing game, and especially under these conditions, it's very difficult. And so Dave Ollinger certainly has some difficult times here with 2:30 left on the clock. And St. Rita
holding on the offensive line, still first down. Incomplete pass.
First down with 2:30 left. These guys are still just slipping and sliding all over the place.
Mount Carmel in a 3-deep zone.
Ollinger got the snap. Got a good rush. He's got Sadowski across the middle again with another sliding grab. They're about 3 yards short of a first down as they hustle up. Clock continues to run. 2:23 left.
Well, Mount Carmel is still playing, real deep. Those passes are not really hurting them because the clock is still running, and they just don't want St. Rita to get a score here.
Ollinger. Man, Sadowski slipped trying to get, and he just threw it away, which was a good job at stopping the clock.
Stops the clock with 2:10 left. And Mount Carmel again playing a prevent coverage with 3 deep, so nobody goes deep, and they mix up the underneath coverage with zone or man. So it always ends up really being a double coverage on those receivers. If they go deep, they're in zone deep, and they might be a man under, so it ends up being a double coverage there if they were to throw there. Mount Carmel doing a nice job of disguising their coverages. There's a picture of the St. Rita players.
Mount Carmel just struck quick. Ollinger back. Got Paul Gordon. Boy, did he get hit. He got hit short of the first down. Depending on where he marks it, was it the left or the right foot? Oh, it's going to be close.
He really got stuck. St. Rita calls a timeout here. See, Gordon is going to catch, as he catches the ball, look at that contact. That is great open field tackling. If you had a coaching film that you wanted to show, that's exactly how you'd show it, that kind of technique. And there's Todd Warnett walking out to the St. Rita huddle as we see the officials measuring for that St. Rita first down, and they're a little short.
Look at that. That's how short they are. As they will move it over. There's Todd Warnett going over there. And he is firing up his folks to get them to be a fourth down in inches. And really, they don't get this.
Well, he's got to, they're still with 2:03 left on the clock. He's got to pick up this first down.
Right.
I mean, attempt to go for a touchdown right here is not the answer. They need to get this first down. And there's the St. Rita sidelines, as we mentioned before, is a real quagmire. And that wall you can see so close to the sideline. There's Frank Lenti with his Mount Carmel Caravan, and they're up by a score of 18-7 with 2:03 left.
And they want to load up that Caravan and head down to normal.
They want another shot at East St. Louis.
And they may get it. I'm overhearing the score in the background, and East St. Louis has taken the lead, 14-6, I believe, but there's still 2 minutes left in that ball game, so we're not sure what the situation is there. St. Rita, Bollinger's got the first down. Now they need to get up, set it up quickly.
Clock will stop with the moving of the chains here, and Rita will line up right on the ball. Good coaching.
And again, it is so important to get that first down so many times because you do kind of get a mini timeout there. They have to stop the clock so they can move the chains. The clock is still holding with 1. Now they stop it to change the balls.
And this is shows you how efficient these officials are, wanting to make sure that everybody has equal opportunity, not to keep a real wet football in the game, because they haven't done it for Mount Carmel. They shouldn't do it for St. Rita.
Ollinger looking at Sadowski only, and Ollinger still, no, he's finally brought down.
Again, that coverage by Mount Carmel, knowing they've got to throw the ball, and they have that 3 deep prevent secondary.
And you also have all your men downfield as they come running back to set up.
Well, you see he's only rushing 4, and obviously the coverage is excellent here, and you can only hold them off for so long. And now we come back to live
Ollinger
action.
back to pass. He's got Paul Gordon still on his feet, finally brought down. Paul trying to get out of bounds with 1:18 left. Clock running. They're about 6 yards short of the first down with a third down situation.
St. Rita lining up on the ball and out of a spread formation.
Sadowski going across the middle. He's got Paul Gordon. He's got...
We have a flag,
short of the first down, yeah.
And that flag will be illegal procedure against St. Rita, because on that far sideline, the official threw the flag because there was a little movement. St. Rita wasn't completely set before the snap.
Let's wait. Here's the official's call.
People down at the snap. Previous snap.
As you heard, previous snap, so they will bring it back to the line of scrimmage on third down. Mark it off. So it'll bring up a third down and 11.
Offensive lineman going down at the snap. Still third down.
So I mentioned they weren't ready at the snap. The illegal procedure.
Well, even had some guys moving over here. Wide receiver was just kind of casually going upfield.
Mount Carmel defenders, the 3 deep, are 20 yards from the line of scrimmage. And the linebackers are another 10 off the line of scrimmage.
Ollinger looking for Sadowski. Ollinger's going to run with it now. He cuts it back upfield. Oh, does he get hit hard? And he is short of the first down. Still short of the first down. They call a timeout.
Just short of the first down. Pippin on the stop.
The St. Rita or I should say the Mount Carmel captains, very important players for this team. Dan Miller, their quarterback. Mike Pippin, their safety, who has played an outstanding game. Bart Newman on that offensive line, and also Matt Yeager, also an inside linebacker. This team is really a solid team, and more, I guess, more offensive power than I expected out of either one of these teams. I was surprised that the Catholic League has put the ball in the air this year a lot more than I have seen it, obviously, in the past.
Well, you know, that's a trend in high school football now, is obviously more to the passing game. We have the summer passing leagues that we've had for the last 10 years or so, and so with that type of skill, and of course everything evolves down from the pros and through the college ranks, people like to see the ball in the air. And the high schools have gone more to that.
And both of these schools have defined athletes that can do it. Now once everything is set, 35 seconds left, 18-7. Mount Carmel leads St. Rita. Olinger in the shotgun. Takes the snap. He's got Sierra across the middle. Sierra cuts it back, still on his feet. Finally brought down at the 20-yard line. They'll stop the clock to move the change quickly down to Vito. Vito?
Brian, I'm still down here with a lot of the fans, and I can see that a lot of them don't have the same spirit they had when the game started, but overall it's been a good game. You can see it's overcast now, so it's not going to make much of a difference, obviously, because the game will be over in a few minutes.
Well, about 24 seconds. Olinger to Sierra, tipped away. 18 seconds left. Again, if you get this score, you never know what can happen on that onside kick and maybe one play or two plays.
Well, that's the thing.
There's always hope.
It's a crazy game, but there's always hope. I'd have a lot more hope if I was only down by one score right here.
And if I wasn't playing Mount Carmel.
Right. You know darn well that they have practiced those kind of situations for onside kicks and that type of thing. So it's tough for Rita being down by 2 scores with 18 seconds left. It looks like their undefeated season is going to come to an end here.
2nd down and 10. Olinger looks across the middle. He's got Sean Sierra. Sean is brought down at 15. Timeout, St. Rita.
Carmel fans start counting down at 10 seconds, and Todd Wernett puts a time in there to stop that chant, and it's a timeout for St. Rita, their last timeout.
Well, they have two. Well, definitely, they got to score in this play if they want to get to the onside kick. And with this timeout, let's take a prep back there. Mount Carmel was in the 5A final in '86, the 6A final in '87, and now they will more than likely move to that 6A final once again.
It's going to be an outstanding game. Kind of an interesting scenario. Last year, Brian, if you remember, we watched Naperville North and Hershey play in the semifinal round, while Mount Carmel was down at Parsons Field getting beat by East St. Louis. Now the scenario has reversed itself. We're watching Mount Carmel here in the semifinals, and Naperville North down at Parsons Field in East St. Louis from the sounds of it getting beat. So kind of an interesting scenario as compared to last year's football event.
Again, we don't know the final score of that game, but if we find it out before we go off the air, we will definitely let you know. To Paul Gordon. Paul Gordon heads to the sideline, and he gets out of bounds, gets the first down, smashed against that fence with 4 seconds left. And now they will obviously try and run a play to get into the end zone, but again, with 4 seconds left, that's about the average time for a play.
That'll be it. I'm sure the clock will run out after this play. And St. Rita having a lot of pride, obviously, in their football program and their ability to play the game. And sitting here at 12-0, they're going to try and punch this one in, obviously, and end their season, unfortunately, at 12-1. And Mount Carmel will move on to 13-0. Two incredible football games.
Got one outstanding football game we've seen here today. Olinger. Flag goes to Paul Gordon. Paul tries to get to the outside. Let's wait and see what the penalty flag was.
Again, it cannot end
on a defensive penalty.
And I've got a feeling it will be against Mount Carmel because the refs are clearing the field.
Right.
All the Mount Carmel fans, they are all over the field here at Cronin Field.
They move them off the field like cattle.
Mount Carmel coach is doing a good job of getting those people off, and Todd Warnett's trying to get a a penalty here.
Now, again, well, here, let's listen to the official, I believe, put the two hands on the head.
It would be an illegal receiver downfield, but
that would be a defense.
No, that wouldn't be. The only thing I can figure right here is there had to be some sort of interference against takes a timeout. Of course, right now there's no time on the clock, so the hopes of St. Rita are over.
Well, again, we want to thank both schools. Thank St. Rita head coach Todd Burnett, their entire school, their principal, and all their fans for a great season. And again, being host to us here in this football game, Mount Carmel, head coach Frank Linty and all their fans. They'll be moving on to the state final down in Normal. And again, thanks to both schools and thanks to all the schools. Really, we have had one of the smoothest seasons of all time. We got to every school. Every school welcomed us with open arms, and we've had just a great season this year.
Well, you know, that also is a tribute to Sports Vision, too, because they're just so happy to have these people coming to their field.
And again, we've got Prep Talk. Is also one of our shows. With Bill Frink, Jerry Schnee, myself, we sit around and just blab about high school sports. So the final play of the game.
I'd like to see Rita score here. I really would like to see him score.
And it is picked off. And
look at the fans. Look at the fan.
Cushingberry is down. It was almost, that'll do it. The final play is picked off. With no time left, 18-7 our score. Mount Carmel with an impressive win over the Mustangs of St. Rita. They will move on to Normal, Illinois.
Congratulations to the Mustangs on a fine year, 12 wins and 1 loss.
There you see the final score of the fans and the players congratulating one another on a great, great semifinal game. We're going to come back and wrap all this up right after this.
The team, all concentration. The second string quarterback, Jim Reynolds, behind him.